think you ought to know. That Men's Radio. The place where men and women really speak. Oh man, what a show. It's Men's Radio. This crazy show is on 3 times a week. Now Russ and Phil are there to help with all your cares. We laugh, we cry, we talk like grown-ups do. But if you're sad and low, it won't cost you no dough. Men's Radio, that's the place for you. With Russ Kane and Phil Dave.
Well, that's a lie. There's a lie straight away. See, I'm trying to be in a good mood. I play a jolly jingle. Pah! With Russ Kane and Mr. Nobody. Morning to you, Sen. Hope all is good. Greetings and salutations. The espresso, never far away. Robert Van Buren. I've never met him. He's not even American, but he just sounds like he should be. He sounds like he should be from a Sherlock Holmes thing. Robert Van Buren, American timber magnate, walked into Holmes's rooms. Watson, declared Holmes, show our young friend in. Anyway, there we go. Yeah. Happy Friday, everybody. The weekend. I'm on my own. Don't tell anybody. On my own. I had to fire him. I couldn't put up with him anymore. Let's go to Houston in Texas and say hello to Julie Voice. Good morning, Mr. K. Good morning to you. And from Texas, we go to, I'm going to say, the 24th arrondissement. It's not, but it should be. It is Françoise Pascal. Bonjour. Hope you're feeling better. Everyone I know has got a cold, got COVID, got the flu, feeling rubbish. And that's everybody I know. Like everybody. It's like ludicrous. Ludicrous. He was in those Fast and Furious films, wasn't he? Yeah. Anyhow, I don't give advice. I don't. But I was very unhappy about the way I looked, apart from doing a Simon Cowell. Ooh, look, I blinked and moved my arse. No, apart from doing that, I decided to go on a diet. I decided on October 21st to go on a diet. And the reason I went on a diet is my pal Colin, who I have coffee and cigar with every Saturday morning. Oh, hang on.
Oh, better late than never. Sorry about that.
Things were going so well. I was really enjoying
Sorry.
myself. I was on a roll.
Ooh, look at the lighting. I look like I'm sort of fading out of the TV.
You know what you look like? I'll tell you exactly what you look like. You look like that disgusting Joe Biden announcement when he did that thing with the troops. That looked like a Nazi standing there with all red lighting.
I feel wanted.
The troops that's what that's kind of better.
There we go. Now I've sort of got some sort of like almost positively angelic background to me. I tell you what, let me shuffle around a bit.
Why don't I take you off for a second?
No, I'm fine.
I'll be the judge of whether you're fine. Perfect. You're fine.
Look, there you go. Look, marvelous. Hello.
Well, that's better than the sort of evil Dr. Evil Joe Biden broadcast thing. I don't know if you saw that, gang, but it was absolutely appalling. What have we got? Cheers, tickety boo. It says Francois back out. That means she's all better. We go to northeastern United States from Azadam Brown. That is great.
So what did I miss?
Oh, nothing. Oh. I was just saying, I put myself on a diet, as you know, but no, I haven't told anybody else. But today was a bit of a milestone. So all I've done is I've combined two things. I never get advice because it's always crap. Let's go to New York, Manhattan. Good morning to Elizabeth Green. Good morning to you.
By the way, my mother sends her apologies today.
Why? What's the matter?
Got a doctor's appointment. But it's only a checkup, so don't worry.
That's just halved the listenership. I'm freezing.
It's certainly half the number of comments. Sorry, Mum.
I noticed that your new dog, Cassie, the Dandy Dimont.
Yes, big day for Cassie. She's being left at the family home for the first time on her own with Monty.
Mother posted a photo of your dog all wrapped up in bed.
Yes.
This is the person who don't get a dog, Phil. Don't get another.
Hang on, no. She no. What? No, hang on a sec. That was Monty. I thought she posted a photo.
I don't think it's Monty. It looked like your dog.
No, yeah, but that's Dandy Dinmonts do look very similar to Dachshunds. So hang on 2 seconds. Let me have a look. I confirm this. I can't have this misinformation broadcast. You see?
You can. Why not?
Hang on a sec. Are you talking about that photo there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Monty.
Oh, is it Monty?
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
I thought she'd got your dog and was ruining it, of course, as you would expect. Anyway,
Although I do have to say, to any sausage dog deniers out there, this was quite good on social media the other day.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, but look.
What? They say
you're going to do this out loud, right? So what does the top line say?
Say Jesus backwards. Yeah.
Okay, so say it backwards.
Sausage.
Sausage. Okay.
Sausage, yeah. Then say God backwards. It's dog, obviously.
Sausage dog. There you go.
Oh, sausage dog.
I can't take credit for that. That was flying around social media.
Whoever did that, how much sodding time did they have on their hands? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
Bloody ages. I'm going to see my favourite actor today. There
are all sorts of weird and wonderful things out there, though, really. Someone said the other day, someone posted a photo and said Leanne Rimes. I said, no, it doesn't. There's all sorts of weird stuff. You never get it. It's never true. Don't believe everything you read.
So old, but it always catches me. It always catches me. I was talking about this. Excuse me. Thank you. I was talking about. I'm going to the theatre tonight. My dear fellow. Do you know I haven't seen a soul? This is serious.
Look under your shoe.
You're an idiot. Or look into my heart. Look into your heart, Phil. Bless your heart. Send your contributions.
God, I hate it when people say that.
Okay.
It's like the rest of me doesn't matter. Such a stupid expression.
Phil, just look into your heart. Bless your heart, Phil. Bless your heart. I bet Julie Voice in Texas hears that all the time. Can I have a pound of sausages, please? Well, you certainly can, ma'am. And bless your heart for coming to our store. Yes, indeed.
I swear, anyone says that, I'd ask my money back.
Oh, well, you don't live in America. Well, don't live in the South. Bless your heart can also mean sod off. You know, if you really don't like somebody, you just go, well, bless your heart. It means like yes, sir. Julie Voice. Well, yes, sir. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you very much. Is that a Glock 9 in your pocket? You're just glad to see me, Julie. What's the story there, sweetheart? Elmer, go and serve this young lady. I can't understand a goddamn word she's saying. She's from Iceland. You're from England, are you saying? No, I can. Oh, your name's Voice, and have a blessed day, Julie. You do that. You have a blessed day.
Do you want me to take the lead?
Yeah, I would take the lead. Anyway, I'm going to see Simon Russell Beale tonight, who's my favorite. My favorite actor is Simon Russell Beale. I think he's absolutely fantastic in everything he's in. He's just genius, and I'm going to see him.
We're doing Chantal's section early.
No, this is theatre, love.
Theatre. Oh, theatre, darling.
Theatre. My dad, boy. You know my favourite story? It's absolutely apropos of nothing. So Noel Coward is taken into Noel Coward is young years ago, and he goes into a party and he goes, "Dear boy, who is that delightful young man over there?" "Well, Sir Noel, that's Edward Woodward." And he goes, Edward Woodward sounds like a man breaking wind in the bath." I told that to Edward Woodward's widow, Michelle, over dinner, and she laughed more than you did. Yeah, thanks a bunch. You just, what are you doing? You're doing something clever. You got your clever face on. Have a blessed day, Phil. I want you to have a blessed day. Anyway, yeah. So I'm going to see Simon Russell Beale in A Christmas Carol, which I've never seen on stage. It'll probably scare the crap out of me because I don't like things like that. But I'm going to go see it. It's a three-hander. I don't know who the other people are, but they're probably very famous.
I've never tried to clap with three hands. How do you do that?
You're an idiot. You're just an idiot.
Thanks.
I'm pleased you're here. What's going on with you? What's going on in your wonderful world? What's happening? Tell us something interesting.
I have to tell you that it's definitely considerably better than this time last week. I'm going to tell you, last week, at this time, I was, I don't know, actually, my mother even said to me afterwards, you know, very quiet during the show. What was wrong? I can always tell when something's wrong. You were so
Oh,
quiet.
she's so wise. It's almost like she's your mother.
So the truth is that I was having a bad week last week.
Oh,
right?
no.
And when I said I was having a bad week, it was that I don't know whether or not this is what I really struggle with. When I have a quote unquote bad week, I never know whether or not it's all in my head as to whether or not I'm the one who is misinterpreting everything and everyone around me, or whether or not it just means that the planets are in alignment and actually everyone is ganging up against me. I'm never
Katie
sure.
Keeley.
But there was something as a life lesson that one of my former head teachers taught me that actually, you know what, this has stuck with me. And I didn't thank her very much at the time, but boy, oh boy, talk about
Was
you
it
remember
get out and never come into my classroom again, you pervert?
No, that was the week after. What happened was is that I complained to her that quite a few people were picking on me. Okay, quite a few people were having a go at me for whatever reason at school,
because people don't
being
like
very unfair towards me, saying things that were offending me, blah blah blah. Anyway, and she said these words and actually never looked back. She said, "Have you ever thought it might be you?" Now, at the time,
that's a bit
I didn't.
harsh, isn't it?
No, I agree. At
It's
the time,
harsh.
that's exactly what I thought. I thought, how can you say that to what would have been about 11, 12 years old?
20.
How can you say that to an 11-year-old and make them feel as though that they are at fault? And the reason why they're being picked on is something that they've done. But actually, it totally changed my perspective. Yes, it was a harsh thing to say, but think of it like this. It's helped me through the rest of my life. It's always looked to myself. Yeah, absolutely.
I've met you. Remember.
It could be worse. I've looked to myself sort of beforehand and tried to think, okay, well, hang on a second. It can't be a coincidence that everyone thinks this, that, and the other about me. Is it something I've done? And when I'm confident that no, it's absolutely not something I've done, I then hit the roof. So actually, it's helped, I think.
So in the middle of that magnificent monologue, what was the point you're making? Was it something you'd done, or was it everybody?
No, I was trying to guess at is whether or not that do you ever get when you get bad days or bad weeks, do you ever sort of think maybe it's just the way I'm interpreting life, or do you think that it's actually that the life has been ganging up against you?
My life is a wreck because it's all my stupid fault. That's why I'm not the happiest man. Yeah, you as a master of your own destiny. She's seen too many episodes of Thundercats. I think that's what it is. Anyway,
I agree. No, I agree about Master of the Own Destiny, but I think this is something different. I think this is more about when it feels like the world is ganging up against you.
Yeah.
And there are days like that. I know everyone has days like that. But that's more the point I'm trying to make, is that whether or not when you have one of those days or even weeks, is it that you look to yourself first, or do you blame everyone else? And I tried to. And actually, do you know what? I realized that a lot of the reasons why people were having a go at me for the last week is I was still a little bit in holiday mode and I hadn't quite sort of gone back to full kilter yet when it came to work. As a result of it, I wasn't up to the standard I pride myself on. And I think that's a lot of the reason why people were having a go at me.
That's very interesting considering the private conversation, which I'm not going to divulge, you and I had beginning of this week. I think, I don't know, we were chatting on the phone.
No, I know, but then that's what I mean. Hindsight has afforded me the chance to realize that. And I'm not saying that it was right in the way that sort of some people was right, but I feel as though that's partially something to do with it.
Elizabeth, you've been in America too long. Let's get a grip here. Blame's not a good word.
Yes, it is.
It's
a superb word.
It is.
It's a superb word.
It's no good doing the American thing of nothing is ever my fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Because when I was 6, the wind changed direction and my bicycle blew over and I've been in therapy ever. It's all bullshit. Right?
Hang on though, but this is interesting. She says responsibility is different.
Yes. But you can blame yourself and think, no.
But also, I tell you for nothing,
that's okay.
But I tell you what, I agree one thing for sure, is that if someone is having a bit of an issue, whatever the reason may be, if it's at work, if it's a personal life, whatever it is, blaming someone else never helps anything, but someone taking responsibility for it. And I don't necessarily mean the individual who feels like they're being ganged up on, but someone taking responsibility for it absolutely is essential, and drives me mad when people try and pass stuff as they
always do. This is the my truth culture, isn't it? Nothing's ever my fault. It's always somebody else's fault. You know,
recollections may vary.
I go up and shoot a policeman. It's somebody else's fault. Phil, everyone has an off week. It's our personal interpretation that has influence over the meaning that we give these messages. Absolutely.
Exactly. As I would never be able to put it as succinctly as that, but I think that's the point I was trying to make, is whether or not is it the way I interpret it. No, I know, but is it the way I interpret it, or is it just because that everyone else around me seems to be having a bad day? It's not very likely, I grant you, but that's the thing.
Francoise says, that's my life, darling, Phil. Kiss.
No, she says, that's life, my darling.
Oh, I thought, oh, wow.
That's something very different.
Right. Do you know, Francoise, I completely misread that. Jeez, I should wear glasses. And beware, we are meaning machine. What? Elizabeth, you want drugs again? And beware, we are meaning machines.
I interpret
the Skynet become conscious. Skynet's become
I interpret
self-aware.
that to mean that she thinks, in other words, everything in life has meaning.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know.
It doesn't. Not everything in life has meaning.
I had it that everything was always my fault.
Yeah, yeah, I've met you a couple of times, Elizabeth. Probably wasn't. Yeah, probably wasn't. Yeah. I like doing this show just for Elizabeth Green because it's her therapy. I think it's good. We should start charging. I think we should start charging.
I don't think we'd get the same audience.
I think we would, actually. I think people would love it. Anyway, today marks a milestone because thanks to my intermittent fasting, I have lost a stone since October 21st, which I'm thrilled about. Thrilled.
And you know what? We've often spoken about taking the show in front of a live audience, and I think if we were in front of a live audience, I could well imagine they'd do this right now. See?
I'm so ready for politics. That's my. I'm really affected, but it's a Carrie
Make
Lake.
men's radio great again.
It's a Carrie Lake rally. It's a Carrie Lake rally. God, the stuff in America that's coming out. Jeez, it's incredible. Anyway, I won't go into it because I've put myself in a bad mood. Anyway, every Saturday morning I meet my two pals. We have coffee and cigars. Every Saturday morning, rain or shine. And it's just the three of us. Everybody else wants to join in. We always say no, and that's it. Just the three. And we one day my pal Colin, I said, Colin, you're looking slim. What's going on? And he said, I've been intermittent fasting. I said, what's that? Never heard of it. And he has no willpower. I have zero willpower. So, and Ray.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order. Does the member for Costco East yeah, it's all that. So I said, what is intermittent fasting? He says, well, I stop eating. I don't eat anything after 7 at night, and I don't eat before 11 in the morning. So it's 16 hours fasting, 8 hours. You can eat what the hell you want. So I thought, never to do things by half, like starting radio stations. I thought I'll combine two things to speed things along. So I did intermittent fasting, which I do, right? So I don't eat after 7 o'clock at night. Plus, I'm on the carnivore diet, which is no good for you, Phil Dave. You'd be dead in a week. 3 days, you'd be dead.
I wouldn't have very much I could eat.
Nothing, because you don't eat meat. So I'm just eating meat, nothing else, and intermittent fasting. Do I feel like a new person? No. Am I sleeping in better? Not really. Has my mood lightened? Maybe a little bit. Have I lost the stone? Yes. Do I feel hungry? Never. It's quite extraordinary.
Really?
And I never feel hungry now. I don't feel hungry. No snacking. Wow. I haven't had bread I haven't had bread since October 21st. And I've never, when I've gone on these bloody yo-yo diets, they're all crap.
I'm not surprised. The string probably gets stuck between your teeth.
What is this about Leslie? What does Leslie want? Russ.
One shouldn't be glib about this, nor should we generalize. Some people have suffered trauma in their past and may suddenly come across a trigger that brings that buried trauma to the surface. I became particularly aware of this when I was facilitating a course about childhood abuse. Bluntly, one of the participants reacted. They'd buried a past trauma. Thank goodness we'd arranged counseling support during the duration of the course. I'm not saying certain behaviors are excusable, but
you know what I'm saying, Leslie Demeter, and you know very well. By the way, it's pouring with that's even better picture. It's a way better picture. Don't have to see us. Chrissy Richards, hi boy. I'll come back to you in a minute, Lely. Hi boys, torrential rain here. Only just got connection.
Chrissy.
That's in southern Spain. Francois Pascal lost 2 stone through illness. No, I don't want to lose it through illness, darling. I want to lose it. Leslie, what I'm saying is there is a culture that exists where nothing is anybody's fault.
Correct.
This is what drives me mad. No one accepts responsibility. From Sadiq Khan, who won't accept any responsibility for anything. It's always somebody else's fault, and it permeates all the way down. I'm not talking about people who've suffered a trauma. I buried a trauma. I didn't realize I'd watched my father drop from a heart attack when I was a little boy, drop right in front of me. I'd completely forgotten it until it suddenly came back to me years and years and decades later, and I suddenly relived the whole scene. So, yeah, Leslie, I know about past traumas, and they're very difficult to deal with. I'm not talking about that I'm not talking about when something horrible has happened. I'm talking about this particular American thing, which has now, of course, come across here like a plague, where nothing is anybody's fault. No one steps up and says, I messed up. There's always
and also, actually, you know what you need to think of the ramifications of that, right? Because if someone never takes responsibility or lives in a culture where they never take responsibility for their actions, it leads them to believe they can do no wrong. Precisely. If it leads them to believe they can do no wrong, then they become indestructible. And if they're indestructible, they're just being set up for even more failure when they do fail.
But they won't see that they've failed. They will blame everybody else around them, except looking at themselves. You see, you were talking about looking at yourself and thinking, was it me that I'd had a lousy week? Or was it everybody else? The planets had aligned, as you said, Katie Keeley style, Sharon McGovern style. And, it was just bad karma out, bad whatever it is, bad mood rising, I don't know. And I always tried to be very honest and go, did I do my best? My dad was one of few words. But one of the pieces of advice he gave me was, did you do your best? And I went, yeah. Well, then you can't ask more. But if you come out of an exam or a situation or a relationship or a business and you think, did I do my best? And the answer is, yeah, you did absolutely everything you could. That's it. You could do no more. Whether you were incompetent at it, I'm beating myself up over stuff I've done badly at the moment, particularly at the moment. I just am. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Not such an exotic location this time. This must be Wimble. Messaging you from a frozen dungeon at Dungeness. Jesus Christ. Talk about the wilderness. Where the temperature is a nice even 0. That is Mr. David Wimble, live from Dungeness. If you've never been to Dungeness in the winter, if you're feeling a bit depressed,
I don't even know where it is.
You're missing nothing. Bloody creepy there. Up the power station, which looms like some sort of Middle Earth horror show. Yeah. I love this, by the way. They're opening the first. You couldn't make this shit up, could you? When they closed all the coal mines, right? Protest, rioting, right? You remember? Or were you too young? They closed it when Thatcher closed.
Possibly.
Right? Now they're reopening the first coal mine because we're in such shit. It's always going to happen.
Well, there's a legal challenge against it, but yeah.
It'll open. Now they're opening. Protest. What do you want? Do you want it open? Do you want it closed? What do you want? Can't have it open and closed.
Well, it's almost like shock horror. They've suddenly realized we actually have energy beneath our feet that will actually make our bills a darn sight cheaper and stop all of this nonsense with save the planet. That's not going to die, by the way.
Are we going to go there? Hey, your mum's back.
What? Well, it's just, I'm sorry, it's not.
All right, no.
Survived a hell of a lot worse than
I've insulted David Wimble. So, frankly, my day has not been a complete loss, everybody. My name is George Burns. Thank you, Gracie. Ouch, that hurts a bit, mate. Mate. I love it, mate.
Mate.
I hate that phrase.
Mate.
A friend of mine went out, was a work do, and and this person got a text going, sorry, mate, got COVID. Like, sorry, mate, I'll be 5 minutes late. You stupid idiot. You got COVID. What the hell were you doing going out? Spreading it. Spread it to everybody. The whole office has gone down with it. Ouch, that hurts a bit, mate. Last time you were there, Oh, that was no. The fish and chip dinner was very good. Was that Dungeness? I thought it was somewhere else. I didn't know where the hell I was. Who knew? I was somewhere on the coast.
I really felt like fish and chips the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, there's always a smell of vinegar about you, Phil. Do you know why?
There really is not, I promise.
There's a chip because of the chip on your shoulder.
Hilarity, thy name is Russell Kane.
Depression, thy name is me at the moment. Right, let's bring on brains and I can't say the rest because I will say it's sexist.
Well, I'm already here. So what are you talking? Oh, Chantal. Oh, right.
Yes, Chantal Rickards.
Chantal, where were you?
Elizabeth Green's woken up. Just because I live in America, I didn't become American.
Oh. Oh dear. How are you?
How are we? I haven't seen Chantal. I haven't seen this. This is absolutely true. I'm really sharing something. I have not seen a soul since Sunday afternoon. It is now Friday afternoon.
Wow.
Apart from, I don't mean when I'm walking Ebony, the mini schnauzer, and people walk past. I'm not talking about that. I have not seen a soul since Sunday afternoon.
Intentionally?
Don't know. Kind of the way it is. It's kind of the way it is.
Well, you can always pick up the phone.
Bruce Hornsby used to say.
It's very sweet of you, but you have a life. You have a proper life. You, me, and Robert Downey Jr.
Here's something to cheer you up.
Oh, look at little Cassie's face. She is adorable. She is absolutely adorable.
Oh, I'm very excited. In other news, the tree is up. And I bought for the first time ever. I bought a real Christmas tree, so I'm very happy.
Yeah.
We've always had artificial Christmas trees, but I never had a real one.
But yeah, they're the best. You'll be loving sweeping up the pine needles. That's fun.
Yeah, I can't deny.
And do make sure
that I'm starting to see why we never had a real one. But
Mr. Phil Dave, please make sure that Cassie doesn't get the pine needles in her paws.
Yes,
because they're damn painful.
No, quite right.
Very painful.
Definitely not. Yeah,
I saw a great film last night. I thought it was a great film, but it was my kind of film. Not for everybody.
Tell us what it was.
Hang on. Your mother won't leave
hang
alone.
You can't go into that. We haven't done this first. Anyway, there you go.
Thank you for that.
May I just lead with what I saw? It's called, and it's obviously not going to be a rom-com, and it's not a musical.
Oh.
It's called My Name is Vendetta.
My name is Vendetta.
No, your name's Chantal. Let's not confuse everybody here. We've got some very simple people. Phil's already confused now. Thank God you got your name there.
I think you better tell us about it.
Yeah, very quickly, because this is your shout. It's Italian. And you think, oh, I know exactly. Oh, Jesus, Leslie, what's the matter with you today? God, I'm going to phone her after.
Afraid that I have upset lovely Demisa.
OCD Demisa.
Not terribly happy.
OCD
the fact
Demisa.
That the lampshade behind me is slightly crooked. And to be honest with you, Leslie, it's me sitting slightly wonky. The lamp is actually quite even
it feels
at the moment. It's me. I'm on an angle. Hang on a second. I'll tell you what we need to do. Hang on.
Stop it. No, don't do something stupid.
No, there we go. That's all right. How's that? Is that
now she'll moan that you're not quite
That's better, isn't it?
Very clever.
Thanks. I don't really fancy sitting like this for half an hour, but I'll give it a shot.
Is she talking about you, Chrissy Richards in Spain, keeping wet soil and spray with hair lacquer supposed to work?
What?
She's talking about your tree. Or you.
Hang on, no, I want to hear about this.
Oh, I see the tree. Oh, I see. Yes. Keep in wet soil.
Yeah.
Well, with Cassie around, that won't be too much of a problem.
That'll be
Keep in wet soil.
That kind of wet.
And spray with hairspray. Well, as you can tell, I use an abundance of hairspray, so I've always got some lying around.
At least you're not going to catch fire like a Roman candle now. Boy, that was always a worry.
Some of mine, Phil.
No,
yeah, thank you.
You are
Chantal,
a natural beauty. You don't even use hairspray. Anyway, it's called My Name is Vengeance. It's made in Italy. It's on Netflix. It's done from Italy Netflix or whatever it is. Right. And you think, oh, I know exactly where this is going. Oh, God, this is going to be. No. So it is a bang bang kind of shoot 'em up. It is rough. If you don't like those sort of movies, it's not for you. But there's an interesting, as you would say, Mrs. Professional, very interesting character arc with the little girl. You think, because at first you think, oh, it's going to be some sort of horrible teen romance. That's going to be the subplot. I'll say no more. My name is Vendetta.
Okay, is it vengeance or vendetta?
Vendetta, I'm going with. My final answer.
Just checking, because you've given it to us both ways.
I know, I like to do that because I'm very thick. Very
keep you guessing.
Oh, here we go. She's back again. I think, what's the matter? Why don't she just...
me.
Oh, definitely not Cassie P. Dog pee ruins grass, makes it go yellow and brown. Goodness knows what I do. Goodness knows what it... I thought she said I do. Goodness knows what it would do for Christmas.
Out of interest, dare I ask, what would you do to a Christmas tree? Now there's an image for you. You need the fairy on top. It wouldn't be very comfortable, you know.
And you go, imagine, please, the bathroom's through there, for God's sake.
I love it. Could you imagine lovely Demeter sitting on top of your Christmas? And I did say sitting on top of your Christmas tree.
Leslie, stop it. Stop it. Being disgusting. I'm not putting that up on the screen. Right. Chantal Rickards.
That's revolting. Oh, hang on. Elizabeth Green, Phil, you told me it's a Hanukkah bush. Well, it is.
Yeah, he lied.
It's dual purpose.
It's a Christmas
and for what it's worth,
tree.
Elizabeth, for what it's worth, it is next to the Hanukkah. So I'm fine. I'm thinking it's like a multicultural flat. It's all right.
Hanukkah. It's like a Jewish IKEA. Right. Moving on. What has come across your fabulous?
You get someone to build it for you, though.
Well, I think. Okay, very briefly, there are two elephants in the room. I think we better move them out of the room very quickly because at 8 o'clock yesterday morning.
Oh no, I'm going to have to go. I know what you're going to talk about.
No, I'm not here for this.
Literally. Does anybody want to hear about this? Maybe not.
Look,
just sit here all day on my own. That would be very
okay. Look, it's obvious what you're going to talk about.
No, I'm going to talk about it, but you haven't heard what I'm going to say about it.
Fine.
So don't judge before you've heard what I've got to say. And I'm going to say
You've been told, mate. You've been told. Yeah.
All I was going to say was everybody has talked about this. I will add in my 2 penneth, which is it's incredibly boring.
Yes.
Incredibly dull. Don't bother watching it. So now that I've said that, I'm going to move on because there's no point.
Oh, bless you. We love you even more than we thought we could.
You know, doesn't it just go to show, though, that with things like this, they make more of a fuss. They rely on the hype than they do the actual content.
They've only got the hype to sell. I'm not being rude, but it is mere puffery. They've only got the hype to sell.
Chrissy Richards, please don't discuss the docuseries. No. My mother, it's a load of rubbish, and she should know she watched it.
Right. Oh.
You know why I didn't? I'm going to be really honest with you. People could say, and they have an argument and a point, well, you can shut your mouth because you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't want to add to the Netflix algorithm.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you know, Chantal, because you've got a brain the size of Jupiter, but a lot of other people don't know that the way... Asa, leave it. But the way algorithms work...
She told us in a trunk call.
God's sake. The way that algorithms
Back
work...
to the tusk in hand.
You shut up!
Sorry.
Tusk in hand, ebony and ivory.
Oh, no.
Yes, I know. Disgusting.
What?
Right. The way algorithms work.
Is that you and your dog, Ebony and Ivory?
Shut up. That's it. I'm done. The way algorithms... I'm going to get this out. It bloody kills me. The way algorithms work is on the way they judge viewing. You can watch a movie for a few minutes. That counts. That counts. You don't have to sit through the whole movie. You don't have to sit through the whole series. Just a few minutes. Boom, you're in.
It's done on clicks.
It's done on clicks. So I won't add to their algorithms. It's as simple as that.
That's fine. No, all I would say is that when I talk about films and telly on Fridays, I try and bring you something that I think is really good.
Yes,
so
please
all
do.
I'm going to say is we have to move on from that because I don't want to waste people's time. They
Bless
want
you.
to watch it fine,
Love
but
you,
it's rather
love
dull.
you, love
End of.
you, love you. Go on.
Right. So now I've got a couple of choices. One, if you like a drink or two, and the other one probably if you don't like a drink or two.
Well, you got Phil and I straight away. Phil and I are
Speaking
in.
of, by the way, we have drinks to organise. Excuse me.
Yes, we do.
Ah,
we don't
indeed.
have to take up special airtime. Make everybody.
We don't have to make
jealous.
up special airtime, but we're hopefully going for some Christmas tipples. So
Yes, we are.
Well, we could sell tickets to that and get everybody else to buy the drinks. How about that for an idea?
God,
You
no
see, this
wonder
is
you
why.
were the former
This is
CEO
why.
of BAFTA Los Angeles. She's a genius. I call it we don't call it the Britannias. We call it the vodka. We call it the whiskies. What do we call it? We call it the distilleries. Call it the distilleries.
Not a bad idea. Anyway, I'm going to be serious for 2 minutes and then slightly less serious after that, because actually there is a very good documentary that I think, because the show is what the show is and because the channel is what the channel is, that actually a hell of a lot of people out there suffer from alcoholism, which is normally part of the depressive illnesses. And actually there was a very good documentary this week on the BBC called I'm an Alcoholic. And actually, it's the 75th anniversary of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Wow.
Apparently, it started in America in the 30s, which I didn't know. It has deep Christianity embedded into it, which I also didn't particularly understand, which they haven't really dispensed of, even though it's completely multi-faith and you don't have to be Christian. But a lot of it goes back to Bible references.
Really?
Yeah. Completely fascinating in that the first ever Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in London was at the Dorchester Hotel. So they clearly thought it was only
in the bar.
That's all right, right?
Exactly.
That's okay.
And it was advertised in only one newspaper because everybody else thought it was so utterly disgraceful and wouldn't take the adverts. And that was the Financial Times. But anyway, it's a 1-hour documentary. What is most fascinating about it and slightly disturbing is that they are real life people, but their faces have been changed through fake technology so that you see them sitting there, but their actual face has been completely, and you see their eyes and their nose and their mouth, but it's not their eyes, nose and mouth. So the blurring technique in television is now gone.
It's moved to deep fake.
Deep fake technology to put the face on to hide the the person's real face. Anyway, that's
this is not my real face, by the way. Deep fake.
But it's worth watching because actually, just from the point of view of what Men's Radio Station stands for, there are an awful lot of people out there who struggle on a daily basis and suffer from depression. And as this is one of the depressive illnesses, I thought it was worth mentioning because actually it's really interesting. Besides anything else,
it is an illness, isn't it? It is. And I admit I was much too critical. It was my fault. I was much too critical. It is an illness and needs to be treated as if you're an alcoholic, it is an illness and needs to be treated as an illness, as if any other illness. It's not just.
Well, it's an addiction.
They like
first and foremost,
they are addicted. They are addicted. Yeah.
An addiction is an addiction. It doesn't matter what you're addicted to. There are some people that are addicted to what some might describe as really trivial things. But if one has an addictive personality, it's nothing to be sniffed at, nothing to be ignored. The truth is that it can be ridiculously harmful, whatever the addiction, because someone becomes so obsessed with maybe that 1, 2, whatever it is, particular items, that their life has no other meaning. And I think that's horrendous. So
I have to be, I try to be very, very disciplined about this, Chantal. You know, I'm really not much of a drink. I mean, Phil and I joke about it, but I don't have the capacity. Not really a moral stance. I don't have the capacity. So if I had a pint of Guinness, I'm done. I can't have any. I physically don't want any more. That's it. If I have 2 whiskeys, like with Phil, I'm done. I can't have the third. And at night, because I've been kind of edgy.
I can't say that, just for the record.
No, you
afraid,
can't, Wazhead.
Nor can I.
Mr. Wazhead over there, he can't say that. But
I
can't. I mean,
not proud of that, but I can't say
and because I've been a bit sort of wound up recently with a load of things, at night I like to make myself a martini. I'll make one. I might make myself 2. That's it.
Do you have the olives in it?
Of course I do. 3 olives, obviously. Of course I do. I'm not stupid. I'm not an amateur. I make it in a shaker.
Really?
I pretend
vodka martini. Is it vodka martini?
I call it Bar Rossini. Bar Rossini. And Ebony looks, and I order dry martini, if you please. Sir, good to see you again. Make the whole thing with my shaker and the ice and everything, and enjoy it. It's great listening to an audiobook. That's what I do.
You need to get out more, Russ, definitely.
Yes. Thank God. You're absolutely blooming right. 3 olives and a very vague joke. Stop it. I don't know what's the matter with Leslie Demeter. Next film. Next thing you've seen. What is
Anyway, well, at the counterbalance to that, I thought you ought to watch a program. It's actually just very funny. It's a new comedy series on Sky with Sheridan Smith, and it's called Rosie Malloy Gives Up Everything. And she clearly is an addict. She's an alcoholic. She's an addict. She's a big time, fun girl.
Do you mean, I'm sorry, a serious question. Do you mean Sheridan Smith, who's not averse to a drink or two, or do you mean the character that she's portraying?
The character, Rosie Malloy.
Okay.
Is clearly in the program. Let's get this straight. In the program,
all right.
Drinks to excess and takes cocaine to excess, and her life is a flipping mess. But it is a comedy. It's a very funny black comedy with lots of comedy gags, and there are lots of gags to the pound. And Sheridan Smith is absolutely brilliant, and her parents are supposed to be 2 mad Irish people, played by Ardlo Hanlon and Pauline McLynn, who were last teamed up in Father Ted.
Fantastic.
So it's got all the
Please tell me Pauline does say at some stage, and I'll go on at some point.
Well, he's playing an Irishman, so I'm sure he will if he hasn't already.
No, that was Pauline's line, wasn't it? She was the one who used to come in offering tea in Father Ted, and she'd say, "Oh, go on, go on." Loved
it.
Never watched Father Ted.
But it's great.
Really?
I mean, Sheridan Smith is brilliant. Father Ted is tremendous. It's one of the best comedies ever made.
Everyone says it was just passed away. Sheridan Smith, for all her impossibility, is very, very talented. It has to be said. If you can get her on track, she's super talented.
Yeah.
Not easy, but super talented. Not easy. Not an easy person.
Anyway,
has her demons,
so I thought I'd counterbalance the story of alcoholism with a sitcom, which is about somebody who clearly is going to give it all up, because otherwise they wouldn't call it that. So at the end of the first episode, you see her going to a yoga teacher saying, "Sort my life out," and it's all going to go horribly wrong.
Of course,
but I think it's going to be a fun ride all the way through.
So, did you enjoy the Robert Downey Jr. Documentary, which is now on Netflix, called Senior?
Yes.
Just SR. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah. So for those that didn't catch up with this, because I'm afraid I was out partying last Friday, so thank you for the time off. But Russ and I went off to see the new Netflix documentary called Senior, or SR, as it's written down. And Senior is Robert Downey Senior, as in the father of Robert Downey Jr., strangely enough, who was this madcap filmmaker in the 1960s and 70s, completely bonkers. And in fact was the person who got his son into drugs, that was sort of interesting. And Senior is a documentary made by Robert Downey Jr. about his father and the last part of his life. And actually, I enjoyed it. And Russ, I think you enjoyed it too, didn't you?
I did enjoy it. It's not, just to give a little bit of perspective, as Chantal's saying, Robert Downey Sr. made movies that, for me, were garbage and impossible to watch, but the art house people thought they were brilliant. In other words, they didn't have a middle, didn't have an end, didn't have an arc, didn't have a narrative, didn't have a timeline. It just looked like bullshit to me, but there we go. What do I know? I'm not Andy Warhol.
Says Time Magazine.
Says Time Magazine. Well, they're very hard to watch. If you love really bizarre art house movies where you think, what the bloody hell's going on? they're for you. If you like a story, they're not for you. All right.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. So the documentary kind of embraces that style. So it's not really linear. It's very patchwork. So there's bits of home movie, which are gorgeous. There's a lot of Mr. Downey Sr.'s films, which are mad and unwatchable and bizarrely engrossing. And then there's the wonderful, before you think, oh, it's the usual, he's trying to make peace with his father. No, they had the most fabulous relationship. They adore each other. And that was great. They absolutely adored each other since Downey Jr. was a tiny kid up to now. And then he gets Parkinson's. And that really got to me, I have to say, because you see this handsome guy in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and he's on the Dick Cavett show, and then he's just lying in a bed and he can't move. And I think, geez. Yeah. And you and I talked about that, which we won't go into. But it's very interesting. It's an interesting piece.
And actually, and then Robert Downey Jr. himself came to talk about the film afterwards to all the BAFTA members. And we sat and watched that for 30, 40 minutes. I mean, he gave us a lot of time, and it was fascinating. And he's clearly bright. He clearly had a great relationship with his father. His drug taking was utterly chaotic. But actually, I really enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was great fun.
Robert Downey Jr. was heavily into drugs for 20 years.
He was.
And you look at him and you think, well, that would be the end of him. They'd written him off, and then he came back, and he's a fabulous actor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at one stage, he was the highest paid actor in the world. So, but his father completely dismisses his career. I don't know if you remember
that was fabulous. Yeah. Because the question I wanted to ask is, if your father only liked art house movies, what does he think of all the Marvel franchises? But of course, he answered it himself and said, he never talks. And he goes, and that was it. His father's whole thing about Iron Man and Marvel and the whole Avengers. And, he just thinks it's crap. That's the end of it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a fun documentary. It's out on Netflix. It's also in the cinema. And the conceit is that the father thinks he's making a documentary about his career, and the son thinks he's making a documentary about his father, and actually the two get very confused and conflated.
Yes,
but am I right in thinking his father's no longer around?
No, he died not that long ago.
Yeah. So I mean, do you think it must have been quite hard for him to talk to BAFTA about, or had he not died at that stage? Sorry.
No, he died. He
died
at that stage. He died.
That must have been really hard to sort of watch, because I'm not being funny. You've got to be made of fairly tough stuff to so soon after losing your father to watch a film where sort of how intense the life has been surrounding the making of that documentary.
Three
and
years,
then to go on and talk so candidly about it. I actually think that shows a real stoicism that most people could only dream of possessing.
But maybe I'm going out and say two things then, Chantal. If you come to terms with it and accepted it, and it was, and you didn't even have to make peace. If you'd made peace with yourself that this was inevitable, then you can kind of do that.
No, but I can't explain it. I don't even think it's so much that. I think it's the content. It's more I haven't seen it, but I know roughly what it's about anyway before we're speaking about it. But if you are able to go through the process of making or putting that kind of documentary together, then losing your parent, and then to actually have to openly talk about it on some sort of whatever circuit, whether that's for BAFTA, whoever it is, I just think is mightily impressive. He clearly hasn't had it easy by any stretch of the imagination.
This wasn't the first time he went out to talk about it.
No, I'm sure, but that's what I'm saying. Don't you sort of think that sort of stoicism is quite impressive? I think it's admirable, personally.
I think he's a very impressive guy. I'm always knocked out by him. I think everything he does, I've never forgotten a million years ago. I think I just started at Capitol. One of the first shows I went to, one of the press shows I went to see was Chaplin, which everyone's forgotten, when Robert Downey Jr., much younger version, looked like Charlie Chaplin.
Indeed.
Like when he was a young man. It was a fabulous film. Beautiful film. great.
No, he's a talented bloke. I only met him once in Hollywood, and very, very briefly. But normally I get a pretty good impression of somebody very quickly, and he was all smiles, charming, and perfect manners.
So like James Corden.
I can only apologise about Russ and I then in that case.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We don't smile, and we have no manners. Go on, then. Go on then.
Anyway, so I always try and find something about bonkers people, because bonkers people are new to nothing else.
Well, quite.
And there is the latest in the long line of Netflix documentaries about completely crazy people, most particularly the Christian right in America. And this is a documentary called God Forbid, and it's about Jerry Falwell Jr.
Oh.
He's the son, strangely, of Jerry Falwell Sr., who was a very influential Baptist minister around the time of Ronald Reagan, and sort of helped weaponize Christianity through Ronald Reagan. Anyway, the father is long gone. Junior came along, joined the business. He's a former lawyer, joined the business. And he and his wife have been running Liberty University and the church for the last 20 or 30 years. But all is quite not what it seems when it comes to... Yeah, exactly. These real life people, Jerry and Becky Falwell, who are great Trump supporters, and they absolutely gave Trump all of the sort of, accreditation and that he needed when he was running to become president. Jerry and Becky have a very strange home life or personal life, whereby for 7 years, Becky has an affair with the pool boy at what the Americans call the Fontainebleau Hotel, or the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, Miami's most famous hotel. And Jerry goes along for the ride, but not quite for the ride. He sits in the corner and watches.
Oh, shut up. No.
And this goes on for 7 years. And eventually this is exposed about 2 years ago. So really the whole story is about the backstory and then what happened and how it played out. But it is quite an extraordinary story. It's basically a story of hypocrisy, and how these people who, fabulous Christian right, and they've all got their fabulous jets and they fly around America raising money hither and thither, not necessarily quite what they seem. And their good old-fashioned family Christian values sometimes need to have a microscope put on them.
They are just the biggest
so
con
that's God Forbid, and it's on
con
Netflix.
Artists of the first order.
But that's what it is. Netflix is great at con artist documentaries, and it's another con artist documentary, basically.
I need to talk about a Netflix documentary that I saw, that actually I saw again because I've already seen it once, but it's called Endgame. And I have to warn you, you have to watch it with a fairly strong stomach, because it follows the final days of about 5 people who are all terminally ill. It's all palliative care, and it's in a bid, and I think it's a very clever concept. It's in a bid to try and get people talking more about the end and trying to understand that happens to all of us, but it's to make it less scary in some weird way. And even though it's super sad in places, I do believe it's worth watching, because it's quite old. I think it's a few years already, but I was watching it again because it cropped up. It comes up on Netflix saying watch again. And it just suggested that. And I thought, no, I'm going to watch the end, because I think that's the kind of documentary that you could easily miss something because you're so taken aback with what you're seeing the first time. But honestly, I think it is worth it. It is a very candid look into the sort of the way that terminally ill people are treated.
It's the ultimate taboo. It's it is, I think, every other if you've got Naked Attraction, all these garbage shows, they're just repulsive. But the big taboo is even talking about death. And miss the mood swing, bringer downer. But it is, people are very, I'm not comfortable about it.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled about it. It's not great. But
I am getting
it's inevitable.
to Switzerland, at the stage whereby I am no longer any use to anybody on this planet and become a train, I am definitely a drain. I am definitely getting a single ticket to Switzerland. So if any of you want to join,
yes. But Chantal, you and I, in all seriousness, just for a second, we've talked about. I'm not divulging any private conversation. We've talked.
No, not at all.
And you've opened that door. But I was talking to somebody about this on the phone. And it's not quite, I assumed if you go, let's say to Switzerland, I don't know the name of the company or whatever it is, let's not get into that. But like you've had enough, you're clearly not going to make it. You don't want to suffer anymore. I get that. And I applaud that. I applaud it. Yeah. Why not? It's your choice. If I assumed it was an injection like an anesthetic, you go to sleep, boom, good night, Vienna, it's done. No, you have to drink some crap. Mm-hmm. I'm out now. If it was just the injection, like getting a flu.
No, it's not. It's a drug cocktail that you drink.
You have to drink it.
And can I just say, before anyone thinks I've looked a little too much into this, I have not. I have seen documentaries on that very subject. So please don't.
This is the problem with it.
Well, hopefully it'll get easier.
Well,
or they'll
that's the whole thing. You see that.
Well,
but isn't it interesting if you're in that? I know it's not really the time to talk about it, but if you're in that frame of mind, you've traveled to, let's say, Switzerland, you've made up your mind, I'm out of here. And they tell you, what, I got a drink? Ooh, maybe I'll go home because you don't want to suffer. I thought it was just an injection, like, you get the vet.
I think you'd have to be fairly well briefed before you bought the train ticket. Otherwise, it might be a waste of 100 quid on a train ticket.
Can I just say, it's really, really strange and very creepy that you say about Dignitas and whether or not it gets easier. Because I remembered out the corner of my mind, I read something about, because I'm absolutely fascinated with technology news. So I often read articles pertaining to technology. And I remembered out the corner of my mind, there was something about how possibly in either Dignitas or in Switzerland, there was something about how they were going to create an assisted dying pod. So in other words, someone would go and lie in this pod, and ultimately it would slowly but surely finish them off, right?
Kind of like slowly.
No, I know, but I read it out of the corner of my mind. I've just looked it up. This article was published on the 9th of December 2021. It's exactly a year old today. How weird is that? How weird is that? Anyway, no, but even so, I was right. So what they're doing, you were saying about being easier. There are plans, basically. There are those who are trying to make the process easier. And I don't know how I feel about it. And I think with 2 minutes to go, I think it's a very, very, very delicate subject to enter. But all I would say is one needs to think of it like this. For many years, we refused to let our pets suffer. I'll say no more.
I'm with you, Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever way you look at it, that's the way I think of it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should do a show on it, guys. And actually, if you don't talk enough, maybe we should.
Quite.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll call it dead air.
You're disgusting. Let's plan it for 20. Don't encourage him, please. We'll do it for 2023. We'll do a special. That's what we'll do. That's what we would do. Right.
With 1 minute to go, quick fire suggestions.
Escapist drama on Apple called Echo 3 with Luke Evans. It's written by Mark Bowl, who was the writer of Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker.
Oh my God.
It's sort of shoot 'em up, CIA, conspiracy, a chase around Colombia, but very good series, very well reviewed for the first episode. I'm hopeful it'll be good. Called Echo 3.
Excellent.
Marvelous.
Excellent.
Thank you, Chantal.
Chantal, as always, a joy, a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor.
Christmas drinks. We'll get them in the diary.
Splendid.
Take care.
Thank you so much, as always.
Yes.
You shall see you
the
soon.
Highlight of my week, to be honest with you.
Oh, should I just
go? I'm not being
rude
about you. I will not be back here on Monday. Neil Long, God help you all. Neil will be dealing with everything. I have things to do on Monday.
Good Lord. There's an image for you.
It's been in the diary for Do you want to know what I'm doing Monday? Why I can't be here? Having lunch with a Mr. Tarrant.
Oh,
yeah,
well, sorry. Let me hang on.
That'll be in
just dropped a big name there. Let me just pick
we always have annual Christmas lunch, the old breakfast show gang, and we haven't, thanks to COVID, been able to get together for 3 years. So we're really looking forward to.
Splendid. Well, enjoy.
Yes,
we shall see you soon.
Bye, gang.